Recording. All right, so this is the second half. We want to make sure. I gotta make sure I'm big. Sorry, hold on. This will make it easier for recording. Okay. Let's see. Now has everyone big and I'm small. Okay. I don't know. Usually I have my audiovisual person. Okay, I think if you guys all mute and I start talking, eventually I'll get big, I'm hoping. All right. Am I big on your guys' screens? Yeah? Okay. Right now I just see Erica, but I don't know how to do this. I'm just worried it's not gonna be. Okay.
Is she the host? Is Erica kind of listed as the host somehow, or are you? That
I'm the host, so I don't know why. I wonder if it just does, if I can't be my own person. Let's see. Okay. Well, I'm sorry for everyone else who's viewing this in the future. I am not that competent with this. Okay.
Top right, they have gallery view, exit full screen. Does it say that on your screen?
Yeah, I tried that.
That's the only button that I push. I have it on speaker view, which means that you're the main screen.
Yeah, I wish it would do that for me. I don't know why it's not doing that for myself. Because I have, yeah, Erica, you are now the biggest person in my life right now, so.
I feel so honored.
It's amazing.
Are you doing it on your computer or on your phone?
Yeah, on my computer.
So on your computer, they have like they have the speaker view, they have the gallery view. There should be a way to like kind of pin yourself on top. If I were on my computer, I'd have better instructions, but I know there's an option that allows you to do that.
Pin video? You're right, that was it. Just
Yay!
Okay. You're brilliant. All right, just the combined brilliance of all of us. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you. Okay, so we're gonna get going in the second half is gonna be survival. This is my favorite part. We're gonna do this like a whirlwind because I'm gonna try and get all this done in a half hour. If you're able to come on Saturday, please do. It's gonna be Saturday 9 a.m. at Big Springs at Provo Canyon at the upper campground area. We're gonna be doing all these skills and way more that I can teach on an evening.
So you said 9 a.m.?
9 a.m.
I have 10 a.m. written down. I wonder if it's written somewhere as 10 a.m., so I needed to make sure you're in that one.
No worries. I think let's do 10, because I think you're right. I think it may be an activity at 10.
I don't usually make up numbers. That's probably
No, I think you're right. We put 10 because I was afraid it's going to be cold. Okay.
Okay, 10 a.m.
All right, 10 o'clock. Come at 10 to 1. We'll have lots of fun. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about is shelters for the first 15 minutes or so, and then we'll go into fire starting. For an assistant guide, you need to know how to make 2 shelters on your own. And then you also need to start a fire in 2 different fire starting options. All right, so the first ones I'm going to show you guys is the tarp options. I've got 3 different tarps that I'm going to do today for you guys. Tarp shelters. I know nobody keeps a tarp in their backpack anymore. I don't. But I would consider something a lightweight square tarp as something to have in your first aid kit or your emergency kit. What I've got is a Walmart rectangle special, $6. It's okay, but there's definitely better options. But you can at least see what it is, the basic things we're going to be doing. So the first one we're going to do is an A-frame. So that's pretty straightforward. We get our tarp out. And sorry, I don't have trees in my house. All right. And you take a long piece of cordage. And this is, I like cordage. I don't know if this is 2 mil or 3 or what it is. It's like strung like rope, but it's really small. You can use it for a million things, but it's super strong. Anyway, so I cut a piece of this longer than my tarp, obviously. Put it through the middle. Tying it to one tree. Tie the other end to another tree. All right. Spread your tarp out. Pretty easy. All right. And then you're going to put rocks. Let's see if you can see that. It doesn't look that great. You get the idea. You're going to be putting rocks in the four corners. And actually, this A-frame, you don't want to be that tall, like no more than 2 feet, because you want to keep that heat in there really close and tight. All right. So this protects you on 2 sides, which is nice. The other one is called a lean-to tarp shelter. What we're gonna do is take the same rope and tie a rope into one corner, the other corner at the top. Yeah. We'll attach these 2 ends. That makes sense. So I've got this end attached to a tree, the other end's attached to the tree, and then the other 2 corners I weigh down with rocks. So it's gonna look like this. Does that make sense? So one solid tarp, and the top is gonna be attached to 2 trees, and the bottom is gonna be 2, you're gonna stake it, or rocks, or something like that. So it's just gonna be like one 45-degree angle tarp. Now that provides shelter from one angle, but it works in a pinch. If you've got prevailing winds from one side, or rain, or something like that, or if you've got trees that are protecting you on one side really well, and you want more coverage than that A-frame provides, then the lean-to can work really well for you. The third tarp I wanted to show you is so cool. I just learned how to do this today. And it's called the Tarp Modified Diamond Shelter. So this is if you want something a little more cozy. So with the same tarp, I'm going to spread it out nice and flat. And I'm going to include a link. There's a link on the outline for this Zoom meeting today. That there's a guy who does this way better in the mountains, so you'll kind of understand it better. But what you want to do is find a rock, yay size. And I'm going to put that in the middle, underneath the tarp in the middle. You need a longer piece of cordage for this. Kind of see what I did there. I'm going to tie the rope around this. A couple good knots. I'm just doing overhand knots, but all right. And I've got that rope that I'm just going to kind of pull back. Spread Spread out our tarp again. Then I'm gonna put stakes. So it's gonna look like a diamond, if that makes sense. So I just put something in the middle, that rock with the string. So these bottom 3 corners, I'm gonna put a stake on. I just have a rock. And then on that top corner of the diamond, that top corner, I've got another long piece of string of cordage, and I'm gonna tie that to the highest place I can on the tree. So this involves 2 trees, just like the other tarps too. And I'm gonna move the phone or the computer so you can see it. Okay. Then I'll move this around so you can see. So that's tied up, that front tarp, the top point is tied up. And then I'm gonna take that long cord that was attached to that rock. I'm gonna pull that up and attach that to the back tree. All right. Okay. And then I adjust my rocks or my stakes. And I'll show you. I can show you well. Let's see. So there's the front, and it goes down. This is so bad. Sorry, guys. All right. So you can kind of see that there's the front and then the back. The idea being that you can sit in this with 3 sides, if that makes sense. So I'm going to sit in my little tarp thing here. So my shelter now has 3 sides protected from the elements. Does that make sense? Well, and then you would stake down the corners. That way no wind could come in. But it's kind of a cool, I mean, we all know how to do an A-frame. The lean-to is pretty straightforward. But this is like the next level if you want to do a tarp shelter. So pretty cool. We'll practice this on Saturday. Or you guys can practice it at home and let me know how it goes for you. And that can count as your shelter. So you can have 2 of the shelters you want to pass off be 2 tarp shelters or whatever. The other shelters I wanted to let you know about are a debris shelter. So debris shelters we're going to do more of on Saturday. I can't do them at my house because I don't want to turn my front room into the woods. But the idea is that you get a long pole and you stick it in the ground, and then you get 2 poles with little Ys and they link together and put them like this, and then that big pole goes on top. That makes sense? And that big pole is as long as you are at the tippy tips of your fingers that you can lay down and reach out your fingers. So it'll be long enough for you to lay in, plus a little. And then on that kind of like A-frame that you've made, you just stack sticks, and then you pack it full of tree leaves and whatever junk that you can find on the forest floor. And you just pack it in till it's as deep as your elbow, that you can put your arm in there. And so what that is it's super hidden if you want to be hidden. But the idea is that you can just get your body in that little cocoon of leaves and sticks and slugs and stuff and be super cozy. And that's if you don't have a tarp or a sleeping bag or anything. And the debris shelters are a great way it'll save your life if you have to spend a night anywhere. So as long as there's trees, I guess. So debris shelters are pretty awesome. The last thing I wanted to show you is a shelter that I like to bring with me. It's called Bivy. This is how big it is. So it's smaller than a tent. And I like to take this, especially if it's going to be cooler weather or the winter, or any chance at all that I might have to spend a night. And what it is it's like a sleeping bag. It's like a sleeping bag liner. Does that make sense? Like a waterproof sleeping bag liner. So it looks just like a sleeping bag, only it's just plastic. And it has a little opening here that's vented, that's got a screen. There's all different kinds of bivvies. This one has a screen and a little wire that goes up like this. So I can open it, put my sleeping bag inside, and then I have this kind of wire mesh so I'm not like suffocating. But then I just zip it all over and the whole thing's enclosed. If it did rain, I've slept in it in the snow, and it's awesome. You put your little sleeping pad in there too, and inside the bivvy, and you're just like this big slug in the wilderness, and it's awesome. So that's nice. The unfortunate thing about it is you can't just like cook and like go over here and do all that. You don't have like something over your head and you can move around. Like it's just only for your sleeping bag. It's an emergency shelter. So there you go. So that's what you got: tarp shelters, debris shelters, and bivvies. So those are our 3 shelters that we're gonna be working on this week. So hurrah! Questions on shelters? I would say at minimum, have something in your emergency kit. Have some cordage, like 20 feet of cordage. I'd have a knife, and then I would have something to use as a tarp that you feel like would be good. Maybe 6 feet by 6 feet, thin, square, something, and you'd be good to go. So we'll play with that. All right, we're gonna move rooms and go talk about fire, which is everyone's favorite.
I know.
Awesome. Okay, can you guys hear me okay? Yeah, okay, awesome. All right, so for fire starting, there's just general tips. So I'm starting a fire that every woman should know. If you have a lighter, matches, doesn't matter. What you need to do is have different sizes of wood to start your fire. So the first thing we want to do is have our tinder bundle. So this is a bundle of something so soft and that's super fine. You can even use cotton balls. You can use, my friend Erin loves to use laundry lint, dryer lint, and she'll put some of that. I use the cottonwood from the cottonwood trees. You know when all their fuzz comes off every year? I collect all that, and that's a great tinder that I can put a Ziploc bag and put in my emergency kit. I just have paper towels here. You can do paper towels, shredded toilet paper, things like that. And you'd want to shred it up nice and super, super fine. I went out into our yard and I got grass, just the heads of grass. And you would just, what I like to do, you can even get leaves. Leaves are a little trickier. But essentially you just take them in your hand and you just rub them like this. And that'll hopefully get it a little bit softer and break up a lot of the bigger pieces and turn it into kind of like a little soft ball. So I like to do that. So you have like this little tinder bundle is what it's called. And you put your thumbs in here and make a little hole so it's like a nest. Does that make sense? So a little nest. And that is a super important part of starting a fire, especially the more primitive skills that you use to start a fire is the more important. It's more important that your tinder bundle is soft and dry and just all ready to go. All right, and you want to have a good sized one, you know, the size of your hands. And then the next thing you want to have laying ready to go is your kindling. And you've got these little sticks. You want to get things that are like the size of a matchstick. and small. And then the next size would be like pencil thickness. I have a pile of pencil thickness ones, and then the ones that are like, I don't know, marker size, whatever. And you're gonna have like different sizes and have like a good sized clump of each one. And then I always like to have some good sized logs as well. Now the basic fire starting, if I had a lighter or a match or something, what I like to do is I'll use a piece of one of my bigger logs as kind of like a backdrop, and I'll get my, and I make sure that the bottom is dry. Sometimes I'll even put a piece of flat wood here, and then I'll have my little tinder bundle all cute and happy and ready to go. And you can do this in two ways. You can do this teepee style or log style, log cabin style. I prefer teepee style. I can't do this on my table, but what I would do is I got my tinder bundle, and I'm gonna go ahead and stick all my little matchstick width ones and do kind of like a little teepee 3/4 of the way around that, and then get that all nice and ready. And that's about all I do initially. And then if I get my lighter or my match, I'll get there and I put that right at the bottom, because flames are gonna wanna go up, and make sure it's got a lot of oxygen. Fire needs oxygen. And then as soon as that tinder bundle catches, then I'm gonna put my little sticks on there and make sure they catch. As soon as several of them catch, then I put on the next levels. And as soon as several of those catch, then I put on the next level and just kind of go back and forth. And I like to have this big log here, because when I start getting my bigger ones, I can just start, I'm gonna be doing teepees, but I'm using this as kind of like a backdrop that I can stack and use this kind of as a support. And also, when things get big, I can just go ahead and just throw on my big logs, just like that, and keep stacking here or here for my little log, or for my little teepee. Log cabin style is similar. You're gonna have your little tinder bundle like this, and we would start with our little matches here, matchsticks, and you kind of stack them around like this, like this. So they're kind of building on each other. If that makes sense. You got your bigger logs, and you can stack things this way. It doesn't work as well for me, but it's an option. You can also, when fires get bigger, you can do a style where you have a big fire in the middle, and then you got your logs kind of like a star. And so you can just start kicking, if you put your log in the middle, and then as it burns, you're just kicking it in. So those are basic fire starting techniques that every woman should know. All right. Now, fire starting techniques, this is what we're gonna need to know for survival, is how to start a fire using things besides a lighter and matches. Also, a tip for matches, in my first aid, I always have at least one lighter, and then I always have matches. The best way to store matches is, I found if you can ever find any of these film canisters, these are great places to put all your matches in here. And I'll even put like the little friction set part that you're supposed to light it with that. Rip that off, put that in there. Make sure you've got a good amount of it. And then that's a nice waterproof container for your matches. Kind of a thing I like to do. All right. So we're gonna do, I'm gonna do 2 fire starting techniques today, and we'll do 2 more in the field on Saturday. So today I'm gonna teach you how to do or I think one more. I'm just gonna teach you how, by the way, we're not actually gonna start fires, unfortunately, in my kitchen. Okay, so I did warn my family. All right, so the first one we're gonna do on Saturday, and every woman should know how to do this, is flint and steel. Now this is a ferro rod, if you can see that. And this is my striker. And the idea is that I take my rod in my my non-dominant hand, my striker in my right hand, and I'm just gonna go like this. Can you guys see that spark? It's coming off that. And this is a magnesium, actually this is a magnesium rod, I lied. But anyway, the idea is that I'm getting sparks, and I'm actually on this one I'm trying to throw sparks to a certain location. So I would have my tinder bundle right here, and I'd be trying to throw sparks onto my tinder bundle. Now I have done this, and it takes freaking forever. So what we're going to be doing on Saturday is adding something called I just forgot it. It's like a charcoal, it's called a char rag. I don't remember, it's char something. Anyway, what it is it's a piece of 2" by 2" cotton fabric material that's been charred and is black. And the idea is that you put this on top of your tinder bundle, and as soon as the spark hits it, it starts to ignite and glow, and it'll hold on to that spark long enough for your tinder bundle to catch. They're awesome. So I'm gonna hopefully be able to make some of those for the gals on Saturday, and you can play with those and see what that's like, and then I'll give you some instruction on how to make them yourself. So that's kind of something else you'll definitely want to have in your little fire starting kit. All right. The second thing is that I wanted to show you how to start a fire is that the 9-volt, this is so cool, I just figured this out today. 9-volt battery. I don't know if you're gonna be using this for any of your flashlights, no one ever uses a 9-volt, but, and steel wool. And you could totally put this in a kit if you wanted to. And the idea is, let me pull closer. Pure steel wool will work, is the best. I honestly went to Walmart and got the one that accidentally had soap in it because I couldn't find any other ones, and it'll still work. You just kind of have to shake out the soap. And you can see this is really fine. I spread it out to about 6 inches, at least in one direction, a few inches in the other. Nice like that, kind of separate it. And then all you do is you put your 9-volt on it, and you can see it's already starting to do sparks. Isn't that cool? So this is another way to just get sparks, and you use these sparks and you'll throw these sparks right onto your little tinder bundle as well. So just go like that. So cool. Science. Oh, I'm just shooting sparks all over my kitchen. Okay, there you go.
That's cool.
I know. Do be aware that this it'll probably run out your 9-volt battery if you're doing this a lot. So I would just have like one 9-volt battery, and then if you ended up having to use it to start a fire, then just get a new one and put in your little kit as well. And I'm getting like solid cool, yeah, this is more than just sparks off that magnesium rod. This is like, yeah, you can see lots of cool stuff. So we're gonna be playing with this as well on Saturday. Anyway, and then the other tips, we're gonna try as well as the magnifying glass. So if you want to keep a little magnifying glass, like if you've got a small one, just a lens, it needs to be one that's convex like this. And that will help. And then of course you use that and you hold that between the sun and your tinder bundle. And it usually helps to have your, I saw a really good example, they dug a hole and then put the tinder bundle down in there so that would protect it from the wind. Or you can use some other wood and stuff to use that so it's protected from the wind, and then use that to shine like a pinpoint. You want it to be like a 1/4 of an inch a beam of light. It takes about 30 to 60 seconds to get a really good beam, as long as it's not overcast. And then that will just start to smolder and then start your tinder bundle on fire. I would recommend putting your char cloth on top of the tinder bundle, and so you're actually getting that beam onto the char cloth. That's where you're getting your ember, and then that will be able to hold the ember long enough for your tinder bundle to catch on fire. So that's it. So fire starting 101. Hopefully that provided you guys some new tips and tricks. And yeah, come play with us on Saturday if you can. If you can't, use this and the links that I've got on the outline to do it yourself, and just take a picture and show me how you did. Any questions? You're all muted. I'm assuming you're good. So, okay, excellent. Well, have a wonderful evening, ladies, and it is a delight and a pleasure to do these videos for you. Yay!
Have a good night.
Thank you.
You betcha.
We'll have questions on Saturday.
I know. There's nothing like doing it yourself and you feel so cool or so pissed off. Either one. All right, we'll see you ladies. Have a great night.
Good night.
Bye. Thank you.
You bet.